Hey, welcome back to One Seed, One World, everybody. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the Nightshade family. So nightshades include things like, all of your tomatoes, your eggplant, and also things like potatoes. But besides, these types of varieties that we cultivate and can get a lot of good tasty things from, the overall family itself has a wide variety of other species in it. And most of them aren't so good for you. I mean, even like eggplant and tomatoes and potatoes have poisonous aspects to the plant. You wouldn't want to eat the leaves of the potato or really of the tomato or the eggplant. All of them would probably make you sick. I don't know if they would actually kill you necessarily unless you ate a massive amount of the foliage. But it would certainly, at the very least, not make you feel very well. But we can eat the potato tubers, we can eat the eggplants, we can eat the tomatoes. But outside of that, sometimes some random parts or random plants of the nightshade family may pop up around your yard. And today we're going to look at one of them. So it might be a little bit hard to tell here between all the other plants since I've got one remaining zucchini bundle over here coming up and some zinnia over here, but in between popped up this is Datura, which is a genus or one genus of 9 different species of the nightshade family that are pretty poisonous. Not for touching it, but for ingesting the plant itself. So I had saw this start to pop up earlier in the year, and the leaves reminded me a lot of the okra that I grew a couple years ago. So I just decided to just let it go and see what happened with it. Turns out it wasn't an okra at all, but it is this particular nightshade plant. Its more common names that it goes by are Jimsonweed, Hell's Bells, Moonflower. Let's see, there's a couple of others. Oh, and Thorn Apple. And I'll show you here in a minute where it gets its name Thorn Apple from. But it has these large leaves and puts off some really pretty flowers. Only one is blooming right now, but I'll show you a picture here of what it looks like when it's in fuller bloom. So the plant is poisonous. If ingested, it can cause heart arrhythmias, respiratory depression, and also can cause hallucinatory effects. In fact, because of its hallucinogenic properties, there are certain cultures over time that have used this like in different rituals and whatnot for hallucinogens. I wouldn't recommend it because you'd have to know what you were doing to avoid getting really sick or dying, and instead of going for just your spiritual journey. So this is not a video to recommend ingesting this at all. This is more just an informational piece to show you, these different wild nightshades that can pop up in your garden. They've also been used for medicinal purposes because these plants, along with a couple of other species of the nightshade, contain specific alkaloids like scopolamine and atropine, which you might be more familiar with. But they do have beneficial properties in the plant if you knew how to extract them and use them appropriately. Again, not recommended. Datura is its, I guess, really the official name, but again, Jimsonweed, Thorn Apple, Hell's Bells, Moonflower, has a lot of different names depending on who's referencing it. Oh, look, a little bee just came in. He checked out the flower for a second. So they do put off these seed pods that is where they would get their Thorn Apple name. And let's show you these. So this is what the seed pod looks like. basically what happens when the flower of the plant starts to fade, a seed pod will form in its place. And sometimes this is what's actually referred to as the fruit of the plant. So, you know, like eggplants, you would get an actual eggplant, or a tomato, or, you know, for tomatoes. But in this case, you get this little bird pod that makes it look like a thorn apple. Now, and this is not to be confused with a thorn apple tree. This is, when they call them thorn apples, this is just one of the side names that come up for this plant. But it's got like this real spiny texture on the outside. And they're not very big. They get about the size of a walnut that you can see here. But, you know, even something that small, it can contain up to about 100 seeds. So there you have it. The nightshade that can randomly pop up in your garden or yard area. One last thing, one other name that they can go by is Devil's Trumpet, and they should not be confused with another plant that looks similar called Angel's Trumpet. I'm assuming that they probably got the name Devil's Trumpet because of the shape of the purple flower here that comes popping out. So anyway, a member of the nightshade plant that, or family that has had various uses throughout history, both in medicine and ritual type rites and hallucinogenic properties. But it's something that you may come across depending on the region that you are in. So hope you found that interesting. I thought it was a pretty cool plant, although I think I'm going to pull this one before the seed pods dry and burst and I get, you know, hundreds of these out here. But thanks for checking out the video. Please subscribe to our channel. Hope whatever's going on in your neck of the woods, gardens, homesteads, whatever it is you're doing, hope it's coming out fantastic for you. We'll see you again soon. Have a great day. Namaste.